Halo 2. Whether it is a rush development, a smoky E3 demo, or an infamous cliffhanger, Halo 2 has been one of the most controversial Halo releases of all time. But did all these factors make it a story masterpiece? Halo 2 opens right where we ended last time, with a destroyed ring, but it has the boldness of showing us the Covenant's perspective. We are introduced to the commander of the fleet that you just fought, but now the Covenant are speaking English. This is great towards the bigger picture, given the Covenant human characteristics like speeches, emotions, trials and prophets makes them relatable and engaging. The commander is being judged as a failure for allowing you to destroy the ring.
You were right to focus your attention on the Flood, but this demon, this Master Chief...
By the time I learned the demon's intent, there was nothing I could do.
Even though his excuses are reasonable, he is deemed as a heretic, stripped of his rank and his fleet. They portrayed the Covenant as a religious cult, using the Great Journey to control their people with promise of salvation.
You told me there wouldn't be any cameras.
You told me you were gonna wear something nice. Folks need heroes, Chief. Give them hope. So they smile. But yeah, but we still got something to smile about.
In juxtaposition, we are seeing Master Chief, the demon the Covenant fear, being condecorated for his actions on his works last game, with an upbeat tone and a sense of pride and accomplishment. For the rest of the game's story, I will use a concept of storytelling that the Egyptian writer Naguib Mahfouz implemented in his book Midak Ali, and that works great for stories with multiple characters. Naguib's storytelling of multiple characters emphasizes on lines. These lines at some point will intersect, causing the biggest turning point in the story and the rise of one character with the downfall of the other. Halo 2 establishes this concept with Master Chief being at the absolute peak in a condecoration and the Commander being at his absolute worst in a demotion and trial.
His bravery in the face of impossible odds reflects great credit upon himself and the UNSC. The Navy has lost one of its best.
Unlike Halo 1, the game does not throw questions. It instead shows us a character on a trial, makes him appealing while using Earth being under attack as a way to engage us, since we already know Master Chief and we can easily relate to how important Earth is.
Master Chief, defend this station.
Yes, sir. I need a weapon.
Right this way.
With Earth's invasion, we see the start of the decline of Master Chief's line. Even after successfully kicking the Prophet off the planet, the situation will slowly turn more desperate and hopeless. We enter in pursuit of the Prophet with a single ship versus a whole cruiser.
We are not losing that ship.
Switching back to the Commander's arc, we see that he has been given an opportunity for redemption. Kneeling before his prophets, he is asked to renounce his life, become the Arbiter, atone for his sins, and amend the damage he has done, as the Arbiter job is a suicidal one. Basically, they give him an useful execution while he destroys the true heretics.
What would you have your Arbiter do?
On the blood of our fathers, on the blood of our sons, we swore to uphold the Covenant,
Even to our dying breath!
This oath emphasizes the cult mentality and the resolve. It showcases the Arbiter's current position and introduces more relatable Covenant, with even more interactions that makes it more likable. The humanization of the Covenant is complete. You are fully engaged in the Arbiter's story and now you get to play as him.
Their lives matter to me, yours does not.
That makes two of us.
Going back to the chart, with this opportunity, the Arbiter's storyline has gone up a notch and begins a steady climb towards the apex of his character arc. These levels just serve for you to fall in love with a character, especially because what is more likable than a well-written, cocky alien?
And we shall force him out. How? The cable. I'm going to cut it. Get everyone back to the ships.
Finalizing our hunt, we catch up to the leader, only for 343, the monitor of the previous installation, to show out of nowhere while the heretic is implying that the prophets will send everyone to slaughter, planting the seeds of what will become doubt on the Arbiter. After successfully killing the heretic, Tartarus picks up the Arbiter and 343. The third line is introduced, a line that will remain even from beginning to end, the Flood. Their whole purpose is to further the other two lines towards their decline and peak.
Cortana, what exactly am I looking at?
That is another Halo.
Say what?
Upon finding a second Halo, we know that we have to prevent the Covenant from activating it as a small repeat of the first game, but with different stakes as now we're chasing one of the Covenant leaders. Regret apologizes to the other prophets for his hasty invasion and lack of knowledge of the human homeworld, which is weird that the prophet does not possess this kind of information. The cunning of Truth is shown with how he scolds Regret, making Truth look good, which furthers his agenda of seizing power from himself. And such, he orders the Phantoms to turn around and glass the whole area, killing Regret and hopefully Master Chief. But he jumps into the water at the last second. Before drowning, the Great Man grabs him and pulls him into his lair. This is where Master Chief's line reaches the last high point, and from here on it will start going straight down. In contrast, we see how our actions affect the Covenant. The elites are no longer to guard the prophets, and there is a lot of discontent. It shows the brute's reckless overtake of the elite on our guard and makes them even more antagonistic, since now we root for the elites. The schemings of Truth have casted the elites away, and even though they are being pushed aside by Truth, he gaslights them, minimizing their anger and making them sound lacking of belief, borderline heretics.
It's a sacred icon critical to the great journey. I must find it.
We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way.
Now you are doing exactly what you stopped in the first game, retrieving the index to activate Halo, under the false presumption that it will initiate the Great Journey. After cutting through the heart of the infestation and reaching the index, Tartarus betrays the Arbiter, boasting on how the prophets commanded this and taking Miranda and Johnson hostages, while sending the Arbiter into the abyss.
Prophets learn of this. They will take your head when they learn. Fool. They ordered me to do it.
While captured by the Great Mind, the Arbiter is forced to hear how Halo is a weapon that will eradicate everyone. But due to the demon's presence, the Arbiter just becomes so stubborn and refuses to hear the truth.
Fate had us meet as foes, but this ring will make us brothers.
To stop the ring from being activated and to open the Arbiter's ears, and in secret to weaken the Covenant, the Great Man teleports the Arbiter and the Chief away. Master Chief is sent to High Charity, the holy city of the Covenant, to pursue truth, and as a diversion so the Great Man can overtake the city. With this diversion, the Great Man sends the Inumber-clad infested by Flood and invades High Charity, starting a massive Flood outbreak. On their escape, the Prophet of Mercy is abandoned by Truth to be consumed by the Flood, and Tartarus is tasked to activate the ring. As the Flood infects High Charity and the ring, Cortana stays on behind to blow up the Inumber-clad, just like you blew the Pillar of Autumn in the last game, while you are boarding Truth's ship.
Let him be. The great journey waits for no one, brother. Not even you.
Meanwhile, the Arbiter is sent to the control room. After rescuing Johnson, he pushes and reaches Tartarus just before he uses Miranda to activate the ring. Held at gunpoint, Tartarus is forced to hear 343 explain the truth of the rings and how the Forerunners died to starve the Flood. Arbiter replies with tremendous sorrow as he says,
Tartarus, the prophets have betrayed us.
But Tartarus, refusing to yield, throws 343 at Johnson and activates the ring, prompting a desperate battle to stop him and deactivate the ring.
Not the elite shall be the prophet's escort.
With Tartarus slain and the ring stopped, 343 informs us that the whole Halo array has been put on standby. When Miranda asks from where, 343 replies that it must be done in the Ark, to which the Arbiter asks its location, showing us an amazing framing and alluding to the future alliance of Elite and humans. We cut back to Truth's ship, where the infamous cliffhanger happens, setting up for the next and last game in the Human Covenant War history arc, the Battle for Earth. The final cutscene shows the Great Man about to interrogate Cortana. With this resolution, the Arbiter has achieved redemption. Not only did he stop Tartarus, but he established an alliance with humanity, he broke through the lies of the prophets, and he achieved the peak of his storyline. Master Chief started strong, but after killing the Prophet of Regret, he does nothing of importance. His character is reduced to filler to give room for Arbiter's redemption. He literally goes from point A to point B with little to no story. He loses Cortana and arrives to Earth. The Flood remain on the same level. They start small and end up taking high charity. You could argue that they ended up on a high note, and while true, their whole participation is pretty irrelevant in the whole story. The Great Man forces the Arbiter to open his eyes while sending Master Chief to chase truth. But soon their story will change very dramatically. This will be a great time to explain that the lines are not completely linear. They have their ups and downs. I have been showing a really simple representation, but these will be the real lines of their storyline. And they are not linear. They have ups and downs, which is good since the characters grow and fall throughout the game. Master Chief stays the same blank but badass slate for the player, unidimensional character which gives room for the Arbiter's arc. The Arbiter is cocky and prideful. Even on his trial and punishment, he refuses to yield, is smart and has plenty of guts, a likable badass, but with a heart. When he's explaining Tartarus how the prophets betrayed them, you can hear the sorrow, the sadness, and how big this whole situation is for him, paired with an outstanding voice acting. That scene is perfect in all senses. Truth is a very cunning and smart character, using every opportunity he gets to seize control, like recalling the Phantoms or allowing Mercy to die by the Flood. One oddity to me is how he does not stay on the ring for the Great Journey. I assume it is because he learned of the Ark, or because he knows the rings will kill them all, and he wants to die with the Whole Array activation. The White Commander, while a very side character, is very likable and enduring. He's portrayed as kind of a coward, as he always runs away supposedly to wait for reinforcements or whatever, something even Tartarus mocks him for, but his speeches are beyond well written and executed. Sergeant Johnson is an absolute madman. The moment Arbiter distracts the brutes that had him captured, he sneaks and steals the nearby scarab, like wow. Tartarus is only a pawn, only possesses brawn and blind faith, which ends up on his demise. Regret is a naive, weak and unfit prophet, which dies due to his stupidity. Mercy, well, he dies without mercy. Miranda is a true leader, not afraid of odds and always in the front line, and Cortana remains the same reliable, sarcastic and smart AI. Overall, Halo 2 is an amazing journey. A great journey! It makes us like the enemies of the previous game and even root for them, makes the stakes even higher in a natural way by throwing the Ark and the whole Halo array being activated, and has a beautiful arc of redemption. Even amidst the whole controversy between the Deceiving demo and the Rush development, Halo 2 has endured through the years, remembered by many for its great story. But there is one more thing that Chief has to do, for his next task is
finishing this fight.